Now let's get into the benefits of being in the forest, because it doesn't matter which forest you're in actually. I know that Uxbridge claims to have or Durham region, the trail capital of Ontario. I would have to really study a map to believe that one, because I have a cottage in Haliburton, and when it comes to trails, there's just so many. Yeah. So it's hard to believe that maybe it's in the urban setting. I don't know. There's probably some sort of classification.
I'm sure they validated it
somehow.
Yeah, but it's great that that's a celebration.
And you know what? From Newmarket, Aurora, Richmond Hill, Stouffville, we are so close to all of these different areas. My thing to people is always to say to them, just get out and walk in the forest. It doesn't matter what designated forest it is, so long as it's not on private property.
Yes.
Ask first. Yeah. But for the most part, get out and walk in the forest. So I'm sure you've got a whole list of things the forest brings to us.
Yeah, I call it vitamin N, vitamin nature. And, as much as we just feel better about being in a forest, there's a lot of physiological things that are happening that have been studied, researched by science. The one thing is, it's called attention restoration theory. You got to figure out where you're going and looking for an address, or I don't want to get hit by that car, or step in the dog poop, and all this stuff. So your mind's constantly paying attention. So the neurons are active. Your active attention neurons are firing. When you go into nature and you're walking on a nice path, those kind of calm down. They get a break. They get to restore. They get to recover. And your passive neurons kick in, passive attention, and they kind of take over and say, hey, buddies, you know what? You've been working really hard. I'll take this. So all those attention neurons are getting rest, recuperation, and restorative. So it's very good for your attention. So children with ADHD, 20 minutes in a forest perform better on focus-based attention tests than on their like Ritalin type drugs. Mm-hmm. And I have adult ADHD, and I say self-medicated on nature. And it wasn't until I was in an office more in my job that I started to really see the impacts of it. So I started having to go out. And there's still times where I get all worked up or stressed, and I just say, that's it, going for a walk. And the benefits of that de-calming, that stressing, is phenomenal. It lowers your cortisol, which is the stress hormone, which causes so many problems. It boosts your happy memory retention. So not just better memory, but better memory of happy ones, which is something we all need in life. Mm-hmm. You're, walking on uneven ground, and I think I got this from you, that when you're walking on uneven ground, all those little teeny tendons and muscles in your legs build up so that you're more stable. Mm-hmm. And so when you're walking on flat land, you don't get that. It's a very repetitive work. But when you're walking on just a little uneven, it really helps for that. Listening to birds. I am a birder. I love it. Mm-hmm. I call it real life Pokemon. Because you're like, oh, what am I going to find today?
I learned so much about birds from you. Honestly,
it's amazing. Just listening to birds, they help regulate circadian rhythms, except for that one robin at 4 a.m. And that one, I'm like, that's got to be. He always wakes me up, and I'm like, oh, come on, quit it. But they help make traffic noises more tolerable. So the sounds of nature, the gentle blowing breeze and rustling leaves that we're hearing this time of year is very calming for us. And our body, mentally and consciously we're aware of it, but unconsciously, our physiological, they are responding. You're getting more chemicals out to your frontal lobe, which stimulates all kinds of great things, emotional stability, less stress. Like there's so many wonderful things. Just breathing in the air. There's it's volatile organic compounds, which sounds really bad, but as we know it, but these are tree ones, and they're great. And it's phytoncides. I always want to add an I in there. And it's the trees leaking out their oils and stuff into the air, these organic chemicals, and we're breathing them in, and that boosts our immune system. So what protects the trees from things like fungus and bacteria and pests, we now get to breathe it in and benefit from that as well.
Right.
And if you walk in the forest on a nice humid day or just after the rain, the smells are amazing.
So nice.
And those are the smells that boost your immune system. So you lose a lot of the oils like pine oil and cedar oil and all these good positive health oils. Well, that's it in reality, not out of a bottle. You're breathing in all those benefits that we get from these natural oils that we're using, but in the forest. You don't have to pay for them. You just breathe them in and love it. So it's really good for you on all kinds of levels to be out in the forest or in nature.
I always say that when when you smell things, nothing brings back a memory like smell.
Yes.
Real estate agents use it all the time. You know, they put this apple and you poke cloves in it and then you stick it in the microwave. And then when people come to see your house, all they smell is this beautiful apple pie smell.
Yep.
And it makes them like your house better than the house next door because you get this warm and fuzzy feeling from the warm apple pie kind of smell. And it's the same when you go to the forest. You just dig up all kinds of ancient memory things, ancient brain things that are really calming. The forest can be very protective.
Yes.
It's like a big, cozy blanket wrapped around you. There's just nothing like it. And then when you have a sleepless night, or you're so stressed out because you've got the whole family coming for Thanksgiving dinner and nothing seems to be going right, you want to conjure up a happy place. You know, it's great to conjure up that forest blanket, that beautiful feeling of being sitting by a tree, or a little babbling brook, or even the little girl in a big pretty dress running through a field of daisies. I mean, you know,
Yes,
the forest meadow thing is such a beautiful, beautiful conjure.
It's my happy place for sure.
Yeah,
And I'm sure a lot of people
don't
feel like that too.
And a lot of people don't realize that it is their happy place until they actually go out there again. We did a course recently, or a lecture with Sports Aurora.
Okay.
And they were speaking about exercises for seniors. And it was very interesting because they said if the exercise that you introduce to seniors is not sustainable, meaning that it's not fun, something that they're going to want to come back and continue doing because they had a good time, they won't do it. So we're going to take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about seniors in the forest.
Okay,
You're listening to
great.
Fresh Waves. I'm your host, Bren Masson, and we're speaking with Aileen Barclay this morning. Stay tuned.
Hi folks, Kim Mitchell here. You know, however you choose to get around, your ATV, your snowmobile, your boat, car, if you have a motorcycle, all these things take 100% of your attention and skill to operate safely. Alcohol impairs that, and bad things can happen. So, be smart, okay? You know what I'm going to say next.
This message brought to you from the Safe and Sober Awareness Committee.
We're back on Fresh Waves. I'm your host, Bren Masson. We're here every Wednesday on Whistle FM, and we're also on podcasts whenever you want to listen at freshwaves.ca. So if you happen to miss the show or only heard part of it this morning, do go to the website freshwaves.ca and you'll find the podcast, and you can listen to the whole thing at your leisure whenever you like. So we're talking with Aileen Barclay. We've been talking about being out in the forest. Let's talk about seniors in the forest. I think it's wonderful. I often get a little disappointed when I'm in the forest to see that the people who are using the forest tend to be new Canadians who really appreciate it. And I'm not finding that our own people are using like Canadians that have lived here for a long time are almost taking it for granted, that it's just there.
Yes.
And they'll walk down the street and go to get a Tim Hortons, but they won't drive 5 minutes so that they can get out into the forest and go for a walk in the forest. And I'm kind of saddened by that. And when we were at the lecture that I was mentioning before, they spoke about keeping exercise for seniors sustainable, meaning that it has to be something that they enjoy and they like. Well, they enjoy and they like connection. So if there's a group of them who want to go out for a walk, go together. And I think it's a wonderful thing to have now these accessible trails. They're not just in York Region. They're in Durham Region has some. Toronto has some. So wherever you happen to be, find these accessible trails, which just means what?
So accessible trails are built, generally they're wide enough that you could have, I think it's 2 people with a wheelchair and someone walking with them could pass safely. They have a minimum grade level, so you're not going up or down hills. And if there is a increase in slope, they have a resting area. They're made of certain substrates so that it facilitates movement with different types of mobility devices, so wheelchairs, walkers, those kind of things. They tend to be short. They're well marked because you don't want anyone getting lost. They're wide. They're so they meet the needs of people that have various physical
Restrictions
or abilities. And then also when they evolve, and as I mentioned, the one with the for visually disabled people, that they're now giving them guidance through the forest, with these tap rails and set guide ropes and things like that. So I think it's really neat how they're doing that. And it doesn't have to be specifically people with a recognized different ability. These are people, we have a massive pile of the baby boomers that are aging. And so they might not be comfortable going out because, the big hikes, they're worried about falling. And falling is a serious issue with seniors. And, no one wants a broken hip or broken leg or anything. I had a fall a couple of weeks ago, my knee's still out. So these flat areas, and what I like about a lot of our local trails is that they are fairly flat. And so you don't have to, you can go for a simple walk or you can go on a really long 6-hour hike. The joke is with me, I always go out for a 2-hour hike and come back 6 hours later because I just get not literally lost, but I mentally get lost in the forest and just spend hours and I don't want to leave. But not everyone's into that and going up and down big hills. So these little short trails that are very simple, there's no slopes. It's really great for people of all different ages and a lot of people with children and strollers actually like them as well. There's new programs coming out. So with the Oak Ridges Land Trust, we're doing Seniors Nature Champions. So the idea is what you said. We're trying to get them to get out, have fun, get comfortable in nature, learn their local surroundings so that they can continue to do it. So we're having Nordic pole walking for them. So there's 2 sessions of 3 sessions starting, where you'd have a guided Nordic pole walking instructor to teach you, and we provide the poles. So that's a really great, stable way to get out, get exercise, and also get all the benefits of being outdoors.
I'm a Nordic pole walking instructor myself, and I've been doing it for 10 years. It's just fabulous. It's a really great sport.
Yeah, we're doing forest bathing, which you keep your clothes on because people go, what? Whenever I say that.
There are places in the world where they do it naked.
I'm sure there are, but we're not going to offer that.
Not yet.
Yeah, and I suggest if you're going to do that, not in a public forest. But it's forest bathing is the idea of immersing yourself in nature. And it's a guided, experiential, almost like meditation through the forest. It's very, 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 very slow walking. So if you're not very great at it, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to go far.
It's not a physical fitness walk. No, it's more of a mental fitness walk.
Exactly. And there's invitations, and I did it. I was a little skeptical. I'm very hyper, go person. So meditation and me, it doesn't always work, but I really enjoyed it. It was a really neat way to experience the forest. So we're offering some of those. These are all free of charge. We're doing a safe hiking course. So if you're not comfortable on hiking, or you're worried, or you're concerned about a big bad bear coming to get you, which isn't really a worry, but we'll talk you through it, teach you where to go, how to dress, what to look out for, how to prepare so that you can go out and feel comfortable. Because I think a lot of people aren't. I used to not go hiking unless I had someone to go with me. And then I made that decision. I said, I'm not going to be held back by finding someone else that wants to hike. So I just decided to get prepared. I took the Safe Hikers course. I took the Hike Leaders course, all that. And I just started, I'm going by myself. So I packed my bag. I got my camera, my binoculars, first aid kit, tick kit, snacks, water, and off I go. I let someone know where I'm going. I have a planned route. And I go out I have a planned route. Never always happens. But and I go out for hours, and I absolutely love it. And it's my therapy, my exercise. So no more gym, just hiking. And I want other people to get to experience that. So we're going to be reaching out to some local seniors groups and clubs and getting them out and involved with us, and so that they can get out, enjoy nature, stay active, reduce the risk of falls, get that healthy activity, and also social isolation. That's a big problem with some seniors. They tend to get, very stuck on their own. So it's a great way to get out and meet other people that like nature. There's also a huge amount of knowledge in a lot of the people retiring. Like there's that big draw of knowledge going out. So rather than lose it, we have a BioBlitz program, which is not quite, but a close to 24-hour inventory in one of our protected properties, where we go out and try and get everything, every spider, every bird, every plant inventoried, so we know what's there. And it goes into citizen science. And I tell you,
there's some species who would be really good at hiding away from you guys.
Yeah. we don't go in big groups, but I tell you, the spider guy's great. I've never looked at spiders. It's fascinating. It's become one of our more popular hikes, and the BioBlitz is the spider hikes. But we do that.
I'm terrified of spiders, so maybe I should go. Yes. Spider immersion.
Yeah,
it's like French
great.
immersion.
Yes. And there's some really neat ones out there. So we're trying to do that. And so if there's people that want to come out and help lead groups, or maybe go out, learn more, and become a leader, we're trying to facilitate that type of programming. Because just because you don't work anymore, it doesn't mean you have to stop thinking and using your wonderful mind. So if you can, all these great experiences can come out and help train other generations, other people, learn more, help with a charity that's protecting great forest. It's a really good thing. So we're working on facilitating that and getting people out.
And now is that sort of, does ORTA come under that?
Yeah, we are working with ORTA, and they're another great opportunity to get out. So they have hikes all through the month, and you can go to their website. So that's the Oak Ridges Trail Association, and they will tell you this is a slow, moderate, fast-paced hike, and you can pick your ones. It's very social. They go all year long. They go to some phenomenal areas. So you get to see wonderful things. You get to hang out with people, and you can pick your pace.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Hike Ontario is another group, and they're running a subsidized seniors-focused safe hiker course. So rather than paying, I think it's $90, it's something like $40. It's a full-day course, and it preps you for how to hike safely.
Right.
Everything you need to do. So it's a great opportunity, and then you feel prepared, and you have the tools you need to go out and hike. So there's lots of wonderful opportunities out there. Our program, we're very fortunate. We have the Patrick and Barbara Keenan Foundation that are supporting us. We have the Maple Cross Foundation, who are these two amazing people that have retired. They sold their big company, and they want to leave a legacy, and their legacy is to protect land because they love it. They've traveled the world, they've seen nature, and they want to protect it at home. So they've been working with us to protect lands. We just protected 80 acres in Pottageville area.
Wow.
Of new forest, old forests, wet meadow, swamp, marsh, wetland. It's really great. So there's these amazing people and foundations out there that are supporting all these things to get people out into nature and to protect nature and to really appreciate all that green space we have. So we're very fortunate to work with these people.
The protection is a huge component, isn't it?
It is.
Because it's one thing to say, oh yeah, well, so-and-so owns all those hundreds of acres, and then they pass away, which is going to happen to everybody. And if there's nobody coming up behind them, there's a good chance it could be sold for a development. And the prices that are being garnished for large pieces of land now, it's staggering.
They want to leave a legacy. This is their legacy. They know, I mean, these landowners, they love their land. They know their forest, every inch of it. They know every trail. They know every animal they've seen, when they saw it, what they saw. And it's really a shame that they can't hang on to that. And even if they're just downsizing, it gives a lot of people that reassurance to know that that forest that they love and that they know and they've lived through and seen grow is going to be protected forever. So whether they have to sell, if maybe their children aren't interested in taking over the property, that it'll stay the same. So the house might change, but that forest that they love, that will stay the same. It'll just continue to grow. So those somewhat big trees will be even bigger and for perpetuity. And that's a pretty awesome thing to leave.
Just because they are a part of the land ownership thing or the protected land, that doesn't mean that they're open for public to walk through?
No.
No.
So
still,
a lot of these
like
are
being privately owned.
Yep. So there's two different versions. If we have our nature reserves that have been donated, so we fully own them, and we have 11 of those, and they are not open to the public. We have actually our newest one is the first one we have open to the public because our principle is nature first. There's lots of wonderful forests, the York Regional Forest, the conservation authorities that have these phenomenal trails and safety and all that. We try to protect for nature first. So we do public with accompaniment out to these to do various events. And then the rest of our properties that we protect are still privately owned. So they're privately owned, but they're permanently protected. So the people live there.
That's such a great thing.
100 acres, 50 acres, 25 acres. They have their house, and then they have their wonderful forest or wetland. There's certain criteria you have to meet, but basically on the moraine, that itself is its own criteria because it's that important of a geological feature for this area. So it's a great way to protect. And there's lots of options. I mean, there's no standard template for these things because we always, you have to look in the future and what do I want this forest to look like? Do I want to have hunting? Do I not? Do I want trails? Do I not? What's that going to look like? And that is all put into that. So it's not a stamp, here you go, this is how it's going to be.
Okay, so
it
if
really
somebody
is catered
did
to the person.
donate a couple hundred acres and they wanted to allow people to hike through there, they could possibly get that designation as well.
Exactly. Yeah, and we have
Isn't
some that are okay with people hunting, or not hunting, well, hunting as well, but people walking through the property. They say, no ATVs, but horseback ride and hiking is fine, or just hiking, or just horses. So it really does cater as long as it's not causing, an ecological disaster, which obviously no one wants. So it's a really great way to make sure that these beautiful properties, and there are some really, really nice ones, I go out and I'm like, I'm getting paid to be here. Are you kidding me? Because this is stunning. It's just breathtaking.
Yeah.
And to know that that's never going to turn into a subdivision or a, big food market or something like that, or a parking lot. It's going to be that forest and better as it ages.
Wow.
So
that is amazing.
It's a really great program, and not many people know about it, but there's land trusts. I think last year alone, there was over 17,000 acres in Ontario protected by land trusts. That's just last year.
That's beautiful.
When you tally it all up, it's in the millions and millions of acres. So it's really, really a great opportunity.
That's fantastic. Well, you know what? We're running out of time. It always happens when we're on this show.
fast.
It goes by so quickly. We've enjoyed having you in. We always do. I hope we can do another show really soon because I think it's really important to get people out into the forest. I think it really is. In a good way. Mm-hmm. Leave your candy wrappers behind. Leave your granola bar wrappers behind. Yes. You honestly do not need 12 gallons of water to go for an hour hike. Just go out and
And it can be a 5-minute hike. Yeah. Then next week it's 10. Then it's 15. I mean, you can slowly get into it, or you can go out for 6-7 hours like me.
Yeah. And just because you go to the gym doesn't mean that you don't need the forest. They're two completely different things.
Yeah.
And, we'll have to have another show so we can talk about all of these myriads of wonderful things that a forest can provide.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks for coming in, Aileen. And Jason, thanks for your help behind the boards. You've been listening to Fresh Waves. I'm your host, Bren Masson, and we'll be back again next week. So stay tuned.